Nelson of Moorhead, and the grandson J.D. Nelson is operating the gun on it. Also, lock and load license number on the Jeep is authentic to the license of the Jeep itself. Next we have a 1944 military Jeep made by Ford. It's owned by Ken Kramer, and it's a World War II manufactured at that time, restored by Ken Kramer. It's been in their family for 40 years. Okay. Next we have a 1941 Dodge M35, owned by Ken Kramer of Amenia, North Dakota. Restored, the Dodge is a 3/4 ton, restored in 1951 to 58. Next we have another Jeep coming up the road here. It's a 1941 military Jeep T14 prototype, owned by Ken Bankston of Pelican Rapids, Minnesota. It's a one-of-one prototype 6-wheel drive, never put into production, but it's been in his family for quite a few years. And we thank Keith for bringing it. Next we have a 1988 Oshkosh M977 Hemet, owned by Carl Kostman of Forest, North Dakota, previously owned by the U.S. government. It's an 8-wheel drive all-terrain cargo truck with self-loading hydraulic crane in the rear. Next we have a deuce and a half. It's 1985 American General that just went through, owned by Carl Kostman of Forest, North Dakota. We have a crawler, a couple of crawlers coming through here. It's 1942 CA-1. It's an Air Force veteran, Tom Wright from Duluth, Minnesota, that owns them. And they're small tractors. Also, the other one is a military UK, owned by retired Lieutenant Colonel Mike McLean of Wheatland, North Dakota. Made it in UK. Next we have a military Clark Cub tractor, owned by Sean Jacobson of Oak Grove, Minnesota. Next after that we have a all-terrain vehicle. Okay, we have a Ford Jeep going through. We have a 1969 military truck, 10 tons. It's a Mack owned by Larry Wilkins of Fertile, Minnesota. Driven by Jake Hubble's. Empty weight on that one is 32,000 pounds. and it's got a V300 Cummins engine in it. Also, we have a homemade kit here, mini Jeep, owned by Mason Brewers of Foxhole, Minnesota. It's floats in water and other things. Okay, next is a 75 military Jeep made by Ford. 2000 Air Force tractor owned by Larry Roars of Foxhole, Minnesota. Military vintage Dodge just went through, a command car owned by Carl Lind of Albertville, Iowa, Albert City, Iowa. We thank him for bringing that military vintage 1941 Dodge. We have a 1961 Essex asphalt road runner owned by Timothy Sin of Moorhead, Minnesota, operated by Josh Grady. Next we have a Holt military crawler. It's a 1917, and it's owned by the Ashley family of Dawson, Minnesota. The contribution of both Caterpillar in the Great War was twofold. Used for Caterpillar, the tractor was used by Allies in hauling heavy field artillery. Second was for building British and French tanks designed to counteract the German barbed wire trenches and machine guns. We have another first Caterpillar coming through, a track machine that's owned by the old late Powers family.
I think that's into the military here. This crawler here was the Holt. This is the tractor that Caterpillar bought. They bought out Holt Company, and this was before they went to just the two tracks. They had the steering wheel up front.
2009 is a 1928 Ford car, a scooter sedan, owned by Daryl and Carolyn Miller, Halstead, Minnesota, operated by Daryl Miller from Halstead.
This one is owned by Mr. Nelson. They use a fuel delivery truck, 2400, AAA truck, 34. And it's Pastor Larry Nelson from back in Minnesota, the owner driver of it. Like that, number 2400. Next one, no number. Well, he's hauling grain. He's going over to the tractors to get a load of grain. He's just passing through. He's an over-the-road trucker. Got no name, but he's got a 10,000-pound gross weight. 4,400 empty. And here we got a 2320.
Which is a 1914 Ford Model T owned by the Benson family. The drivers are either Jason or Mike Benson. And it says under here additional information, flower power.
And she's leaking a little water, so she's going to have to stop and get a little water adaptation to it a little later. Here we got 1900 coming through, and here's number 1900.
1900 is a 1926 Ford Model T owned by Sherilyn Running from St. Cloud, Minnesota, operated by the Benson family. First year with wire wheels.
Wire wheels, here we are. Here we got another no number, and what they are doing is they're going over to the threshing crew too. They're hauling lunch to them. They're hauling fresh made donuts and coffee. They got the back end full of that. So they're on a mission here. They don't have a light. They don't have a number because they're with the field crew.
3306, a 1941 Case Tractor SC, Paul Danielson, West Fargo, North Dakota, operated by Levi Eldon or Paul Danielson. Yes, sir.
And here we got a Farmall M with an LP, L of 3597. Whiskey Creek Farms coming through the Model B John Deere with a potato harvester, potato digger. To get that straight, that's not a harvester. 3914, and
it is a 1948 McCormick W9 Stephen or Merlin Shower operating and pulling a 4-bottom case plow.
And here's a wild man. I've known him ever since he was a little kid. I can't remember his name right now, but he drives a different tractor each time. Hey, great job. Here we are.
5203, a 1941 Minneapolis Police Tractor, PCS, Golden Health Transport Support.
John Deere didn't catch your name. Catch you this afternoon, though.
5207 here on the inside, a 1948 Minneapolis Lane Tractor, Model D, with Dale Finstrom from Fertile, Minnesota.
Sorry. Okay, what about 6150? That's co-op number 3.
It's a 1936 Farmers Union Co-op Tractor, Model 3, Ole Eldon Grand Forks.
Okay, 4200, 4200, Oliver Clay Track. Got any names on that?
Is a 49 Oliver Tractor HD, Brandon Hislow from Chandler, Arizona.
Here we got the Wmstr Antique coming through with a beautiful showing of BN and a Model H Farmall. Beautiful restoration, beautiful job. Here we got 3029, an Alice Elmer WD, made from 1948 to 1952 on it. And here we are Wmstr Antique with a 404. We got the Lux here, 6088.
6088 is a 57 Cox Shed Tractor 20. Mike Gardner from Mandan, North Dakota.
Wmstr Antique with a W12. And Wmstr Antique with a pink Model 8. And Wmstr Antique with an F20. F20 Farmall. Wmstr Antique also with a cup. Farmall cup with the international flag. And Wmstr Antiques with a Model C with the international flag. And here we have the Demon Moline. We got a number on that. Should know the guy. seen them. I know them. But this combine's really interesting. Model 60. I used the combine with one of them when I was a kid. Model 60 combine. Model H. Model H.
Boy, they are taking
Won't have a number.
seriously.
Wait a minute, here we got a military outfit, a John Deere 8432, and this is the one that the prototypes that were made. They never did go into production or go actually out to war. Thomason didn't know that. That's number Ockery coming to it, the W40. That one there is, oh man, he works at the experiment station in Kirkston. That's what he must weigh his potatoes with. Model 8 with farm on with the manure spreader. We got a 3670.
It's a 1959 JIK.
Okay, we got a John Deere 44, 45, 42. John Deere C. Model 8. Farm all. And get all the numbers. About 36 left.
The 64 case, 930 CK, Danielson, Fergus Falls.
What about 7036 with the Al Chalmers? He's got tire chains on. He's expecting mud that roll on. 70.
It's an Alice Chalmers T316, Christopher Skaggs, back from Detroit Lake, Minnesota.
C case with a Woods lawnmower, a mower on it. It's Mr. Jim Hansen coming through with a BACK. Haven't seen you for a long time. You've been hiding? Here we got a Young Valley 3030.
4494 is the 1947 John Deere A, Jim Hansen, Brant, Barnesville, Minnesota.
Here we got a John Deere 4020. Nope, it's not a 4020, it's a 3020. 4516. Beautiful.
68 John Deere tractor, 3020, Dwight Hansen, Audubon, Minnesota.
And here we got a maybe the smallest horsepower tractor coming through the lot with the biggest load behind them. That's a horse and a half. McCormick steering, all water cooled engine. And we have a number, 9100. 9100. Let's get 9100. 9100. 91.
Okay, well, it says it's was built in 2011 as a homemade tractor. Case 1175 homemade quarter scale, Burnt Hansen, Detroit Lake.
1920 Titan coming through. This is when we fall from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He drove all night to get here. And here we got an F12, F12, and we got the big John Deere coming through. It's got to be an 830 or 820. Can't see the number 1939. Oh, wait a minute, that's an R with the, okay, it's got to be a 3802 Junior. And we have a Model T John Deere from Clinton. And we have a Model
552 the 51 Minneapolis Marine T. Bill Icamp from Florence, Arizona.
We got a guy that's ready for work. I've got a Model T John Deere, and he's got a manure spreader behind him, and that's a John Deere manure spreader. And he's going to do some spreading of fertilizer. And here we got a 1948 Silver King, and that's Jim Whipple. He's from Albuquerque. They drove all night to get here. 4415 is the John Deere. It's going to be an A. John Deere and Deerson. Oh, here he is. And there we got Dual Rumley, and that's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, too.
5805 is a 31 Rumley tractor, Dual 1220, Jim Whipple.
Here we got a Huber coming through. And owners Mike Indergaard and David Shaw from Fargo with the CD9.
7510 is, yep, CD9 crawler, Mike Indergaard and David Shaw, Fargo, North Dakota.
And it's got logo from Fargo. It's got the CV14 coming through. And I'm sure that 35 diesel, that's still owned by the Glass family. Yep. Yep. Robert Glass, son of, grandson maybe? Grandson to Robert? No.
Saul? No, Carlson.
No, Carlson is the operator. Great. And we got the whole tractor coming 75 horse.
The 1917 Holt Crawler, 10-ton, owned by Rollag Glass, Vegas, Minnesota.
Then we got the hillside machine. Mr. Scheffner is driving it. Yep, he owns Scheffner Paint Body Shop in West Fargo. I think it's his aunt that owns it. And this Massey Harris combine, no relative at all to the Massey Harris or Massey Ferguson line. It was built and it was a real successful build. The farmer built this combine, or more or less machine shop, and in a way what really ended the line was Case, I'm thinking it was Case, one of the major companies, leased the thing for like 5 years, because with the intention that they were telling them that they were going to make production on this thing. Well, it never came into being. And then after that, so I think this is about the only one left or so, or maybe there's a couple of them. Here we got a Model 8.
3598 is a 1946 Farmall 8 owned by Robert Kidder, raced by Riley Anderson.
Here we got 5233. Awesome. 5233. I gotta get his first name.
Mont and Boston, Forest, Minnesota. His grandfather got into a unit from
We got a 5234 Minneapolis Rolling
owned by Randy Boston from Barnesville, Minnesota.
We got a WC that's turned around that's made into a very efficient loader tractor. This is owned by the Funeral family from Hinterdal. This tractor is used and worked all the time. It's a very successful build. Take a look at that thing. 900 case, 3496. And that is Mr. Hanson driving it. And there's another Hanson, that's his uncle with the case, PC case. And here we got a John Deere coming through with a John Deere L mean earth spreader with the family aboard. And we have some numbers here. What about 3051? Do you have that number? 3051. I'm sorry we can't catch all of you guys, but we'll get you this afternoon. We always got a good promise.
3051 is 57 Alice Summer Beach, Stephen Nelson, John, Minnesota.
Yeah, Whiskey Creek Farms coming through with your WD-9. 930 case. Covered King. Model M. 39. Didn't get the number. There we got Model M. No, that's an M. No, wait a minute. Yeah, that's an MD. M diesel. And we got a W45 Alice coming through. Okay. A UTS Minneapolis Moline. And a cup, Farmall cup. And here we got a tractor that I think that's set up for pulling. You can tell it because you got the engine covered up. Beautiful WD. Over here we got, you got that?
Yep, 3048 and 49 is 48 is a 52 Alice Chalmers C8 owned by Jared War Road, Minnesota. And the other one is an Alice Chalmers gas engine, B125.
B17 Alice also got a bunch of weights on. They're going to go do a little power pulling. 5020 Alice Chalmers. and 5255.
It's a 1960 Minneapolis Moline GB1 Dallas 11 family from Frazee, Minnesota, owned or operated by Dallas 11.
Okay, here we got a Minneapolis, the Red Banana, and also he's got a bunch of weights on there. He's gonna do a little power pulling too. Here we got a Cockshot 1950, and I'm gonna call that's owned by the Benson family. No, hold up. We'll get you. We'll get you. Marvel B.
3012 is a 48 Allen Chalmer tractor WD, owned by Dale Finstrom from Fertile.
This is our pastor that gave us his blessing this morning. He stood up here at the mic, did a good job. Great. And I know the Lord was listening. I'm sure he was. Here we have a Jackson homemade tractor, homemade four-wheel drive. This Jackson tractor here is driven by Claire Waters from Malta, Montana. He owns a ranch at Malta, and he owns the Napa store at Malta, Montana. So you're driving through Malta, Montana, stop at the Napa store and buy a $2 tool or something from him. Maybe he'll give you free popcorn. 4203, we got Mr. Roto tool with his grading machine. And here we got the one and only, they only built one of this guy, the Dennis Peterson. Dennis and Sharon Peterson. He built this tractor in 1968 and 69. And he used this for farming. And that's not his wife in there, though. No, that's not his wife. That's not Sharon. And he also built the building out here to store the homemade tractors in. Next one here is also the tractor, the Dahl, Alfred Dahl from Cogswell. He built this tractor, and Alfred's driving it himself. And he farmed with this tractor, and he had a couple more homemade tractors too that he farmed with. Active farm tractor for over 30 years. Next tractor is the Model U of 1938, owned by Joe Swenson from Rollag, Minnesota. You didn't have to get up too early to drive in, did you?
7040 is a 68 truck garden tractor. Nate DeBauer from Thief River, Minnesota. Kit from the late 60s, ordered out of Popular Science. 8430 here is a 1973 Cushman Arctic Cat Willis Jeep replica, owned by Nate and Miriam DeBauer. Homemade Jeep modeled after Struck Mini Meat. Mostly made from Cushman Golf Cart Arctic Cat snowmobile. Many parts from the scrapyard.
Okay, 3461, the cross motor. This is from the late Dennis Powers collection. And I can't remember his name that's driving it. 3421. What's the name? 3421. 3421. 3421. I didn't get it. 3421. Yeah, I want to get the name. 3421. What's his name? Kurt Adams driving it. Here, the next one. This one here belongs to Kushan is the owner-operator of this one. And 5804.
804 is the 26 Rumley tractor, 3060S. Owned by Reese Rock, Caleb Dudinger. Stored 1963 by Elmer Larson.
Okay, this next one's the Model 60 Twin City, and this is owned by Mark Peterson from Laverne, North Dakota. This is the only one of your systems left in the system. I guess there's another one in park somewhere. And the Twin City 40. I'm going to make a call on it. I'm thinking this is also owned by Mark Peterson. Could be wrong, you know.
immediately.
Springer will tow you. And here is the tractor, the Flower City, and this gal's been driving this tractor for over 25 years. Norman Frost, Bob Glass, and Lafleur. And this one here is Corky Spangler, and he comes from Montana, and the town of Montana is, I don't know if he's retired yet. He had a factory, made truck springs. I don't know if he's retired, I haven't talked to him lately. And this guy here is a Roto-Wolf, and mostly got a grader behind. But you don't have a grader. No, you got the 3-point though. These are the guys that do the grading on the road. Yeah, that's Garrett. That's Garrett there. Yeah, he cooked me a hamburger yesterday. Me and Bob, we had a hamburger. He cooked us a hamburger. Oh, to put an apron on so it reminds me of my wife. Okay, this one here is the Pioneers, owned by Western Minnesota Street Tractor. Western Minnesota State was donated to the show a number of years ago. It's over 100 years old. This tractor was, a lot of times you'd see this thing because it's got a higher speed. I think it'll travel at maybe 8 miles an hour. A lot of times you'd see this in pulling a large, maybe like 10, 12 wagons behind, hauling wheat to a long, to a place where the grain elevator was, you know, out in the North Dakota, Montana, where you had a long ways to go. They'd use them in trains, you know, pulling trains. Here's Misty from Euclid, Minnesota, with his Model 50 John Deere. Next one's the oil pool coming through. Now we're talking prairie tractors. Each tractor is built. All built from the late 1800s until about the 1920s. But they also started building these gas tractors. About 1905, these gas tractors started being built. And if I called every one of these gas tractors maybe in 1909, I wouldn't be far off in years. And that's where they all came in that close era of time. 60.
It's a 1913 IHC Mogul, 1530 Mogul Jr., owned by Steve Maxwell from Huntington, Indiana.
This next tractor here coming through is, got the number, 1300? Okay, Nichols a Shepherd tractor. It's a 3570, mean 35 horse on the drawbar, 70 on the belt. It's owned by Mark Peterson from Lern, North Dakota. log here. And here we have one and only Wimpy Anderson. You got the mother-in-law along today? Her day off today. So glad to see you. I haven't seen you all time. You don't want to say your lips are giving you a little trouble. Yeah, been chasing too many young blondes. Yeah. Okay.
807 is a 26 Rumley tractor, 2035M, owned by David Sunstone. Tim Delaney is operating it. Mid-size lightweight model, lightweight Rumleys were painted green.
Tim Halstead owns this here one. This is a model, okay, 58.
The 28 Ramley 2030W, Cam Harsted, East Grand Forks, Minnesota. Cam Harsted is operating it. Was traded to Ivor Harsted and Sons implement dealer in New Colton, now owned by Ivor Harsted's grandson.
6800. Another one of the large prairie tractors.
Russell Tractor 3060, the late Dennis Powers from Ogden, Iowa owned it. It's operated by Dan Brown.
Yep. $75.26 Caterpillar crawler.
1920 Caterpillar crawler, model 60, owned by the late Dennis Powers from Ogden, Iowa.
And coming up the showground, this guy came. He got up real early this morning. He drove in from Fertile, Minnesota on his John Deere 730 propane burner, single front wheel, and his truck machine. And he has got his debut here at Rollag. They guaranteed him that he's going to be crushing on Monday. And I was talking to Verdell a little earlier, and he's got to furnish his own bundle team, so his own bundle pitcher. And he said he was going to have a couple gals in bikinis showing bundles. So come back Monday and see if Verdell comes through with his bikini spike pitcher on that bundle wagon. Hard bar coming through, a small hard bar, and that's a replica, and that's Jim Bryden's, and his, you want to say about them, these two guys down here? Do you know anything about them, Mila? These two young guys driving here.
Oh, Cash and Judd. We just bought head tops from them. Head tops are not soft. If you're thinking about buying one, they are full of fun.
3742, the gasoline and kerosene here. Put gasoline in it to get them started, and then we run them on kerosene. Here we go, Mr. Klinger, the one and only Mr. Klinger. They don't make another one. His real name is Harris Bellinger, but we all know him as Klinger. And here we got the David Brown, 950. And we have here, we got the, wait a minute now, we know all about this one. Golden Nest, his dad. He's driving, and that would be his great grandpa's PC tractor. Here we got a Minneapolis Moline 706, and I don't dare say who it belongs to. Oh, Craig Engelstead, there we go. Oh, you're Elizabeth's husband. There you are, and that's Elizabeth's daughter. Okay. Now we come with steam engines. And I'm sure there'll be a prairie tractor here and there coming through. Steam engines is by far my favorite engine. We're coming to the case, and I'm going to call it without even looking at the deal. And they're really tough to tell apart. As far as the 75 and the 80s. I'm thinking an 80 horse or 75? 75 horse? Here we got it. Here.
1920 Minneapolis Steamer, 28 horsepower, owned by Eric Nelson, Rollag, Minnesota. Driven by Shay and Shaggy on there, and Tim.
Me wrong, me bad. It's a Minneapolis. What am I thinking of calling it a case? It's a 28 horse. It's owned by Arlen Nelson, or the late Arlen Nelson, and 28 horse. Now, you look at that and say, well, 28 horse. My lawnmower's got 30 horse. Well, wait a minute now. Back in the day, everyone kind of looking at the back of the horses. That's all they do when they come along the street. So they went, how many horses would this steam engine replace? They come up with a figure that this one would replace 28 horses. But they also went by boiler surfaces. So that 28 horse, put it on the crony brake down there, and I guarantee you that thing will put out. You always take that 28 number, take it times 3, and you'll come out pretty close to what the horsepower is. That'll put out 90 horsepower any day. Now here we got a Huber, and this is owned by Marlene Larson. Her dad was one of the pioneers that started the Western Minnesota trees. Marlene owns this engine. This is the return flue. You see the flue is in the back end. That was made, the fuel companies made these engines. It was to capture all the steam. Did it work out? Well, yes and no. Really a bugger to get started in the morning, because you know them real firemen would not use a burden torch like we would. So to get that flue, that exhaust flue to go to the front end and then up and then to the back end and then up chimney was really a pain to get them started. Once you got them going, you had a good draft and everything went. Minneapolis, they always kind of have their extra bunker of water up front. Kind of a known deal for Minneapolis. I'm maybe going to say that this is a 22 horse. And
it is a 1907 Minneapolis Steamer, 22 horsepower, owned by Craig Matson from Lake Park, Minnesota, and it is operated by Craig, Cole Peterson, and Andrew Johnson.
And that's Craig Matson taking the pictures of it there. He's the owner of this engine. He's also one of our board members. Craig Matson, I can remember when he came to the showground, just a real young guy, and I'm really proud of what Craig has done and accomplished the last few years. So, great job, Craig. Case was the first one. In 1903, you went into the Case on 34. In 1910, the other one would be about a 110 case. Same tractor. He went from boiler horsepower, Case went to boiler horsepower to true horsepower and built. Case, 1917, 40 horsepower. This is a 40 horsepower case. Got the coal bunker behind, the coal and wood bunker behind. Neat setup. .1105 case steam engine. Maybe it's a 60, maybe it's a 75, maybe it's an 80. What is it?
It's a 1950 case steamer, 50 horsepower JIK steam traction engine, owned by Western Minnesota Steam Thrashers. It is one of the first of 3 engines that started the show 65 years ago and then owned by Carl Johnson. It was later donated to Western Minnesota Steam Thrashers by his family, and this engine ran every year until it was taken out of service due to safety concerns Until then, it was also used as part of the Western Minnesota Steam School, playing an instrumental role in the training of many new engineers.
Here we got Mr. Swenson. Jacobson, Larry Jacobson from Rollag, Minnesota. Yeah. Hitterdal. He lives right east of the Hitterdal piler, the beef piler. And I'll call Swenson, and then you get them turned on each time. Larry Jacobson. I just love steam engines. I love being around them. I love the smell. I used to just kind of stay away from them. Maybe 40 years ago, just kind of went shy of them. But then they say what happens, you hang too much with them, you get addicted to the steam cylinder oil. They say that's the part that gets you addicted. And I'm kind of thinking they're right. It's kind of like, you know, if you ever got into marijuana, you might get addicted. Now this guy here last year had some friends that were hollering at him. I said, your friends are after him. He said, no. Those are, I owe them some money and they're after the money. He said, they're after me for money. Mila, would you like to read off about this guy, his history?
Yes, before you get yourself in trouble on here. 1918, Russell Steam Engine, 2060, Harlan Bernstein from Walcart, North Dakota owns it. It was 100 years old in 2018, and it started its life in the rice fields in Louisiana, then in Texas, pulling an 1893 horsepower portable Russell.
Alright, you're about the same age as that engine, 100 years old? Oh, the engine's in better shape than you, yeah. Okay, here we got the Ellison engine, and this is the Avery, and different type built engine. Now this is an 18 horse Ellison, owned by the Ellison family, and the grandsons are on it, running it now. A little different locomotive style, the motor down low, not the best beneficial for field work, but a really good engine. Can put on a really good show when you hear these engines pull. Put them on the pony brake or put them on Spark Show. Oh, they do a beautiful job. And we have another Avery here. Now this is new to us on the showgrounds here. It was here last year and I lost my mind. It's gone. 1050.
1950 Avery steamer, 20 horsepower undermount, owned by Bob, Cody, and Jace Mitchell from Kindred, North Dakota. Jody, Jace Mitchell, and family operated, and it was previously operated at New Rockford, North Dakota, so until the boiler had problems and prevented further operation. But they purchased it in 2006, and a new boiler was fabricated in 2013, and the restoration was done in the spring of 2020, just in time for the 2020 show cancellation. Operator is Eric or Ned Mars and Jake Bout. It's 12.5 tons, restored by Western Minnesota Steam Thrashers Reunion. New boiler during the winter of 2010-2011, and was one of the original engines at the first show. New bunkers in the spring of 2017, and it says, "Want to ride? Just ask." So there you go. They're the guys to ask if you want to ride.
I got a big sign on, thank you, veterans, so I want to pass that on. This case here, I do not recognize the people. I should. Got a number though. We maybe got some information on this one.
It is a 1915 Case steamer, 65 horsepower, owned by the Lee family, Boston, Minnesota. And it says Jesse and Sammy Lee operating it and restored by the family in 2019.
Case. Okay. We have a number on this case coming through. I'm going to call 50 horse. Got no number? Am I right? It's a 50 horse. Okay, good. We got that part. And we got 3 operators aboard. So we got that part. And we got enough wood. And we got enough water to make the trip. Yay, we're in good shape. And the Port Huron. 1601 is the number. Right here.
1915 Port Huron 24-75 model, owned by Western Minnesota Steam Thrusters Reunion. And it is operated by Rick Wyans. It was donated to the show in 1996 and was received a new boiler at Larson Welding in 2015, and it was made by Bob Oliver, originally purchased for threshing and sawing in Detroit, Michigan.
I'm telling you, here at Western Minnesota Stream Thrashers, we've got to be the champion people or the leaders of the most engines. This next engine is the 22 horse. Oh, it could be a 28 horse. 28 is 22 horse. And this is owned by the Austin family, Lyle and Bonnie Austin. But that's their son, and now their grandson. Ah, there's Lyle right there. There's Lyle. Yeah, that's the one. I think he was 18 years old when he bought it, or something like 15 years old when he bought it. Did you have to go to the bank, Lyle, or did you hold him up with a gun, the bank? No? You borrowed the money. You didn't hold him with a gun. Okay. Yeah, great job, Lyle. Every parade, mate, and I haven't missed one. I bet this is 25 years I've been announcing this parade. She's been through every one. Okay, next one here, this gal here comes from Boston, Minnesota. The gal does. The guy, he picked up along the way somewhere. Here's one of them.
Did you guys get married here on the showground? Yep, they got married here. Owned by Jeff and Shelley Hewitt. It's 100 years old this year, Saturday, for 70 years before we bought it and restored it. Well, it sat for 70 years before they bought it and restored it. Came from Ontario, Canada, and it worked road construction. Jeff and Shelley were married in front of it in 2018 at Rollag by the Horse Barn.
Okay, the Reeves. Mark Danielson is the operator, owner, operator. And I should, maybe you could read something on it. I'm thinking, I know I think for sure he's the 3rd generation and owns this engine. 4th generation. Mark Danielson farms at Rothsay, Minnesota. This engine's been here since 1956. Yeah. Yeah, Mark is at the wheel. Mark is the engineer, operator, driver. Very dedicated showman with his engine. That's a terrific job. A lot of times he's at the sawmill running that engine. And here we got one, I mean, not the one and only, but we got a row of 110 steam engines. The big horse, the big steam engine, uttered in 1909. They built, was it 6 150s, but they ended up scrapping them all because of the gearing. Couldn't hold up. The case company scrapped those engines. And as everyone knows, that Kevin Anderson, Corey Anderson, built an engine, the 150. Now that's 150 horse. These are 110 horse. But don't get me wrong. I've seen these engines put out 120, 24 horse. I watched one time and put out 122 horse. And I don't know who owns this engine. Powers, Dennis Powers, late Dennis Powers owns this engine. From Ogden, Iowa, but Dennis passed away a couple years ago. Young man, so I don't think he was hardly. Next one is another 110 case. And, oh, we have different operators every year. They change. They ride in diapers, and then the next thing they got overalls on and they're running engines. Oh, okay, Austin's running it, Jim Bryden's engine. Okay. Now you guys can put some stickness on or something. You guys give me a workout. That engine is owned by Jim Bryden, owns Larson Welding. Why does Jim Bryden own Larson Welding? Call it Larson Welding. Elmer Larson helped Jim Bryden so much when Jim Bryden, born and raised Bill Bryden's dad. They're north of Crookston. They were good friends to Elmer Larson. Elmer Larson treated Jim so well and gave him a job when he went to school, college at Fargo, and anyway ended up selling him the business. And he said, Elmer's done me so much good, I'll never change the name. It'll always be Larson Welding. So that's why Jim Bryden, it's not Bryden Welding, it's Larson Welding. And Jim does an excellent job at the show here. Works over and beyond anyone. We have a lot of good workers, but he's one of them. Here we got another 110. Okay. You got the number. Here, read it off.
It is a 1913 case steam engine, 110, owned by Clarence Young, Great Falls, Montana, driven by Warren and Shelby Bellinger from Denver, Iowa. Fourth to the last one built, newest 110 case today.
Yeah, now every one of these engines come through are 110s. So what does that mean? They were built after 1910. If they were built in 1909 or earlier, they'd be called a 32 horse. So quite interesting on these engines. I have never seen a 32 horse. There is, I know they're out there, but they're built before 1909. I always say that you watch Rawhide on television, that was such a short-lived deal, and so was the steam engine era. It was really short-lived. Here we have a case 1106.
1911 case steamer, 75 horsepower, owned by Alan Joe Stokes. And it says that they are operating it, and this engine has been used in ladies' steam demonstrations and for Rollag Summer Steam School, commonly referred to as 75.3, as it is the third case steam engine to call Rollag home.
Here we got a 730 John Deere diesel. That got a pony motor, or does it direct start? Direct start. If you ever get a chance to, when I used to run that, well, I don't run anymore, but I used to be on a crony break all the time. I'd have the people demonstrate starting a 2-cylinder diesel John Deere tractor, and also a WD-9. Then the WD-9, they started on gas, switched over. These had a pony motor. Next one, we got the Dillon family, and Mama Dylan. Oh my God. She's got her husband on board. What happened to all the kids, all the grandkids? They're not here yet. Oh, they're working at jobs. That's good. There! What are you hauling? Oh, the corn boiler. You guys build the corn, make the corn? After the afternoon parade at Faith Lutheran, they will be making corn for you. That's great. And here we have the Rotterdam crew. Oh, my wife's going to go wild. She'll put on another 20 pounds. Here we got the Here we got the Rotterdam Road crew. I'm sure glad you guys come through because, you know, one year after the parade, you know what Klinger did? He sent me a bill for $1,200 for grading up after the parade. Oh, I haven't got your building. Okay, that concludes the parade for today. Come back again, tell your friends about it. We sure enjoy having you here, and we hope to do better next time. Thank you.